So here we have Taylor Wilkowski. She's a canine trainer and apparently she's working with reactivity. I haven't seen this video yet. I don't think I'm going to be reacting to the whole thing. But I want to give people the science behind the behavior of reactivity and why you really don't need to hire a trainer at all to work with your dog.
How's it going, folks? Taylor Wilkowski here. Today we're going to be working on reactivity with dogs. We have Zeus here, the blonde dog, and Lucy, the chocolate lab. We have their owner, Paige, to my left, and the one who's recording is Mark, her dad. So they're owners. I've been working with them for a couple of years now, actually, a little over 2 years.
You've been working with these people for a little over 2 years on a reactive dog? Are you kidding me? Do you realize how dangerous that is?
And we're working with Zeus, who is just a great dog, and he's just very reactive to a lot of different things. So
Why is he reactive to different things? Do you ever ask that question?
this is going to be a 25-minute video, which is the shortened version of the hour-long session that we had. So I'm going to give you, people with very short attention spans, people who don't have a lot of time. I'm going to give you the cliff notes of what we're doing in this video here. And everybody else who wants to stay and listen, use it as a podcast, whatever, feel free. So basically, whenever working with any dog with reactivity, we want to keep them under threshold.
Keep them under threshold. Whose threshold? You're making the assumption of what the dog's threshold is. And it generally ends up being the owner's threshold or the trainer's threshold.
So the fact that Zeus was able to come back and get a little reward.
A little reward. So your reward and punishment. So right now, ladies and gentlemen, the science of behavior needs to be understood. Okay? Right now, the dog is reactive. Why is the dog reactive? Something in the environment right now is punishing the dog. The dog sees the environment as negative, as a negative reinforcement. And in the face of a negative reinforcement, you can fight or flight. Okay? That's the science of it. If you're scared of spiders, then spiders are a negative reinforcement to you. If you're sitting on the couch with a good glass of wine and a good book, then you're actually in positive reinforcement. It's a calm state. There's no negatives around to react to. But if a big hairy tarantula crawls across the floor, that spider, the environment is going to punish you and it's going to cause a fight or flight reaction. That's the way it works. Okay? And the fact that you jump up on a couch is not a act of a free will. Your body is reacting to it. Understand something with reactivity as well. What causes reactivity? Here's the science of what people don't seem to understand. Okay? The environment creates a trigger or a stimulation. The animal body, in response to that, creates cortisol. The adrenal glands start pushing cortisol. The animal is actually reacting to the cortisol load, not so much the environmental stimulus. Okay? And once you understand that, then we need to focus on cortisol, because the only reason why the dog is reacting so badly is because of cortisol. Now, let's get into a little bit of medical science. She's been working with this dog for over 2 years. That is an actual dangerous thing for a dog. Cortisol levels long term, look that up. Get on Google and look up the long-term effects of cortisol. And you're going to see a whole lot of surprises, because not only now are you paying this lady for 2.5 years or 2 years, now you're going to be paying a vet at some point down the road. Okay? Because it can lead to heart disease, diabetes, depression, cancer, a whole lot of things. What she's doing right now is absolutely dangerous, and she's working the owners backwards. Dog owners, you can do this on your own, but you need to understand a little bit of psychology. What you want overall is an overall calm dog. This dog is not calm. Why is the dog not calm? That's what we need to understand. How do we get the dog into a calm state? Because if this dog was calm, they wouldn't be reactive.
He's about on the line of being under threshold. You'll see here in a minute where he is over threshold, and that means that he's not able to focus on us. He's in, fight or flight. He's just go, go, go.
Yeah, and fight or flight is because of cortisol. What can you do? Dog owners, what can you do to help your dog without needing to hire a trainer? Okay? Number one big one that dogs don't get today is having their needs met. Every dog, with the exception of one or two, is a working dog. They were bred to work. They were bred to be our tools. That is the number one thing that's missing today. That relationship, the working relationship between man and animal, man and dog. Okay? So, you take a German Shepherd. They're bred to run chase sheep. But yet most dogs today, they never get the breed that they are. So if you got a German Shepherd, they're not going to be happy with 2 walks a day and a toy in a crate. That's the trainer's advice. My advice, go find something that your dog wants to do. What are positive reinforcements? As your desires. What do you want in life? What are the good things that you want? What gets you out of bed in the morning? What motivates you? Well, it's the same thing for the dog. Positive reinforcement does not have a treat. What is punishment? This is where it gets interesting. According to B.F. Skinner, and he's 100% right, punishment is removal of positive reinforcement. So when you remove the dog's desires, like what's happening right now in this video, the dog desires to go and snip, the dog desires to get away just to be a dog, that's called punishment. And the fact that that's an environmental punishment. The dog is being punished by the environment itself because the dog is scared in the environment. The dog is being punished by the owners right now, and they don't realize it. It's not their intent, but that's what's actually happening. They're removing the dog's positive reinforcement. So there's two different entities right now that are punishing the dog. Now, all of a sudden, they're going to start rewarding punishment. They're going to reward the environmental punishment that you can't even understand, and you're going to be rewarding the punishment that you're applying to the dog. Dog owners, ask yourself, how is the dog supposed to process that? Okay? How is the dog supposed to process that? Let's go back to the spiders. If you're scared of spiders and all of a sudden you see a spider, you're going to fight and flight. Your body produces cortisol. Guess what? You're reacting to the cortisol load. Not so much a spider. Now, if I turn around and hold you in place with that spider in front of you, I'm actually going to be layering on punishment. So the spider's punishing you. Now I'm punishing you. Now somebody else came along and started giving you food, started shoving food in your face. How are you supposed to process that? Just how do you process that information? It's not going to come out as positive. There's nothing positive going to come out of it. Okay? Let's carry on.
So we're just in the distance. He can't even hear us, even if we're right next to him.
You see, the dog wants to move forward. The dog wants to just get out and be a dog. He wants to sniff. He wants to do whatever have you. I can see. He just wants to get out and do something, but he's being held back. That, again, removal of positive reinforcement. The dog's positive reinforcement is get out, but yet instead he's going to fight or flight because of the cortisol response. But he's being punished by many things.
So with dogs, with any reactivity, I want to remove them from that situation.
No, that's the wrong thing to do. Because now we got to get into negative and positive reinforcement again. Okay? Again, going back to the spider. If you're scared of spiders, your three main options are going to be fight, flight, or become indifferent. Socialize yourself to the spider. But that takes understanding. Okay? Here's the funny thing. Fear is lack of understanding. When you start understanding what you're afraid of, the fear disappears and the understanding goes up. Okay? Fear is lack of understanding. It's understanding that conquers fear. So if you start educating yourself on spiders, your fear of spiders will turn into respect, right? That's the way it happens. That's what we need to start doing with our dogs. We need to start thinking that way.
I increase distance from whatever the trigger is.
Yeah, you increase distance. That's typical for dog trainers, but you're working backwards. What is fear but lack of understanding? The problem right now, this dog is not calm. This dog is uncalm. And that's where all the behavioral issues come. Calm dogs are never a problem. Calm dogs are never reactive. They're never aggressive. Why is the dog not calm? What kind of exercise is this dog getting? Is he getting the mental blow at the lines exercise that he needs? That chase. I keep telling dog owners, go out and get a flirt pole. Go out and buy a drone that your dog can chase. Go out and buy an RC car that your dog can chase. Find an open field and just let them go. Let them get the mental stress out of their system. This is the number one problem for dogs today. Mental frustration. When human beings have a really bad day, we get stressed out. We see the environment differently. We interact with the environment differently. You might get grumpy. You might show a little bit of aggression. You might get reactive. It's typical for animals. Okay, that's cortisol. Cortisol long term. You've had a long, stressful day. Remember how you felt at the end of that day? You felt sick. It was exhausting. You literally felt sick. And the dog is going through this day after day after day, and this is not fair to the dog. So how do you deal with cortisol levels? There's two main ways. Number one, cannabis oil, CBD. CBD increases all the feel-good chemicals in the brain, like the endorphins, serotonin, dopamine, and stuff like that. And these chemicals naturally bring down cortisol levels and suppress the cortisol levels. So when CBD kicks in, you're going to see a difference in the dog and how they react to the environment because the cortisol loads aren't there. In a dog like this, he's going to be addicted to cortisol. Okay? After 2.5 years or 2 years of dealing with cortisol, he's going to be developing addicts or addictions. Why? When human beings get stressed, we tend to eat, we tend to smoke, we tend to drink, we tend to do drugs. This is because of cortisol. It's the cortisol that's causing your addictions. You're becoming codependent with a drug or food or whatever have you. The dog is no different. They can become addicted to the cortisol. So once that CBD really kicks in, a lot of owners report after the dog has been reactive for so many years that all of a sudden the dog is weird because, it's like they're lost. But it's because their cortisol levels came down. Their addiction, they're going cold turkey from cortisol. Give them 24 hours, you know what, the dog comes full circle. And you will see a different dog. The other way is with hard exercise. Hard mental exercise that allows them to blow out the lines does the same thing. Again, after a stressful day, people turn around, they go to a gym, they beat it out on a bed, they get on a treadmill. Okay? That's doing the same thing. It's increasing all the feel-good chemicals in your brain that are naturally bringing down cortisol. Okay? So there's two primary things you can do without ever needing to hire a trainer. Okay? And I guarantee you're going to see a different dog. That's only the start. What you're looking to do is focus on getting the dog into a calm state. You want a dog that's satisfied because they get their needs met. They can get out and be a dog. They can get out and be the breed. And once you accomplish that, you're going to see massive changes in the dog. Now you have a calm dog. Now you have a dog that you can socialize. This dog right now is too amped up. You can't do anything to socialize or get him any social skills.
Sometimes that means you need to leave the environment. If, say, you open the door.
Again, it's the wrong thing. Getting back to the negative reinforcement. So when something's a negative reinforcement in the environment, I'm going to stop. Okay? Right now, the dog is engaged on whatever's in the target, in the environment. They're engaged on it. They could be barking at it. They could be raging at it. They can whatever have you. I don't care. You know what? Let them get it out of the system. When human beings meet something new in the environment, we can rationalize pretty quickly, is it worth being afraid of? Is it worth fighting and flighting over? Or can I just become indifferent? Make it a positive consequence. So you're looking to change negatives into positives. That's actually what positive reinforcement is. Positive reinforcement isn't have a treat. Treats are actually damaging your relationship with your dog, and it's actually damaging the dog. Okay? So when something is negative in the environment and you keep running away from it, it's the same thing as you telling your child, you know what? Don't touch that spider. It'll bite you. So you're creating a negative reinforcement, backing it up by possible punishment. That's exactly what you're doing to the dog. So you're actually instilling fears into the dog. So things always remain a negative. The dog never gets the chance to calm down. They never get the chance to disengage. They never get the chance to meet the target, to make it not a big deal so they can actually understand it. Once the dog understands things, the fear level goes down. Fear of it goes away. That's how it works. And that's something that dog owners can do.
Or your front door to your house and your dog sees a dog out there and goes ballistic, close the door.
Why? Let the dog have it out. Just stand there calmly. Let them do what they got to do. You see, the problem is we're taking away the ability for the dog to rationalize. So when a dog goes fight or flight and they start raging in the environment, trainers are automatically telling you to punish the dog or do something to stop the dog. They are like human beings. They take a little longer to rationalize, is this thing worth being afraid of? But they will eventually get there. I've got videos on my own channel right now of Monty crossing a bridge and reacting to a tractor. It's operant conditioning live. The dog needs a chance to process this information. Get it out of their system. They're going to calm down, they're going to disengage, and finally realize, you know what, nothing bad is happening here. And it becomes a positive consequence. When they are calm, they can go meet the thing.
To decrease that ability that your dog has to reinforce that barking. The barking in itself and lunging and going crazy is reinforcing for your dog.
No, it's not. It's not reinforcing. It's actually causing medical damage because it's all cortisol. Lady, if you don't understand what cortisol is, you need to get the hell out of the business. Because cortisol is the basics. Cortisol is your fight and or flight hormone. That's what causes fight and flight.
What is reinforcement? Reinforcement is basically increasing a behavior.
You have no idea. You see, all of this reinforcement nonsense, trainers are blaming B.F. Skinner, the very father of operant conditioning, one of the pioneers of behavior. The problem is, it's not B.F. Skinner. What it is Conrad Most, primary inducements. If you want to understand what Tay is doing, go look up the words primary inducement or just inducement and compulsions. Primary inducements, secondary inducements, primary compulsions, secondary compulsions. That's your quadrants of dog training. Okay? The carrot and stick. She's using the carrot. Why? And she's using it backwards anyways. Dogs don't need treats.
So if we use...
just watch the dog. I mean, he's anxious. He just wants to get out and do something. He just wants to get out and run. This dog wants to work, but they're holding him back based on trainer's advice. They're causing the fear. They're causing the reactivity. So the environment is punishing the dog. The owners are unwittingly punishing the dog. This dog's cortisol levels are through the roof. Now they're going to feed him treats. They're going to start rewarding the environmental punishment, and they're going to start rewarding the owner's punishment. And why isn't this working? Why is it taking 2 years? How much money have you charged these people?
We control Zeus and keep him away from something.
Yeah, you control Zeus. It's all about control and management. That's all trainers are. Positive reinforcement, the friggin' balanced, IGP, Dog Daddy, everything. It's all control and management. And I looked at your website, Canines Management, or Tay's Canine Management. Are you serious? So these dogs need to live under full control and management because you don't know what the hell you're doing? Is that what you're doing? And you're charging these owners, you're lying to them, you're bullshitting them, and you're charging them good money for over 2 years? Are you serious? I can't even look at this anymore. Have a good day.